Are we? Oh. Hey, we're live. Well, good evening everyone and welcome to the October meeting of Full Council. Please note that the meeting is being live streamed via the Council's website and will also be available to view by members of the public and the press who are allowed by law to film, audio record, take photographs, blog or tweet at this meeting. I'll invite the Chief Executive to call out your names to introduce yourself. Can you please turn on your video and microphone?
Thank you. Councillor Zahor Ahmed.
Mr. Ahmed, are you here?
Zahor Ahmed.
Thank you.
Councillor Shaheen Akhtar.
Yep.
Could I ask you to switch off your microphones as soon as you're logged in? Shaheen Akhtar.
Councillor Samir Akhtar.
Yes.
Councillor Wasim Ali.
Yes, yeah. Somebody here.
Councillor Keith Alcock.
Here.
Councillor Peter Allen.
Here.
Councillor Lorraine Ashman.
Here.
Councillor Babu Singh Bauer. Councillor Bauer.
Councillor Bauer, can you unmute your microphone? Come back to him.
Councillor Ahmed Boston.
Yes, here.
Councillor Kerry Carmichael.
Here.
Councillor Bill Cherrington. Councillor Bill Cherrington.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Jenny Chidley.
Yes, here.
Councillor Elaine Costigan.
Here.
Councillor Maria Crumpton.
Hello, yes, please.
Councillor Maria Crumpton.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. Councillor Sharon Davis.
Here.
Councillor Yvonne Davis. Councillor Yvonne Davis.
Microphone on, see that?
Councillor Bawa Dalu.
Yes, yeah.
Councillor Susan Downing. Councillor Susan Downing.
Here.
Thank you. Councillor Susan Eves. Councillor Susan Eves. Councillor John Edwards. Councillor Edwards.
Come back to him.
Councillor Bill Gavin.
Here.
Councillor Elaine Giles.
Here.
Councillor Elizabeth Giles.
Here.
Councillor Luke Giles.
Here.
Councillor Gurdish Gill.
Here.
Councillor Manjit Gill.
Here.
Councillor Simon Hackett.
Here.
Councillor Joanne Hadley.
Here.
Councillor Suzanne Hartwell.
Here.
Councillor Sandra Hevican.
Here.
Councillor Linda Horton.
Here.
Councillor Pam Hughes.
Here.
Councillor Peter Hughes.
Here.
Councillor Mushtaq Hussain.
Present.
Councillor Zahir Hussain.
Present.
Dr. Anne Jarron.
Here.
Councillor Anne Jarvis.
Here.
Councillor Ian Jones.
Here.
Councillor Owen Jones.
Here.
Councillor Richard Jones.
Present.
Councillor Stephen Jones.
Yeah, I'm here.
Councillor Saika Corsa.
Here.
Councillor Saila Katun.
Present.
Councillor Thavuso Mabina.
Here.
Councillor Richard McVitie.
Here.
Councillor Steve Melia. Thank you, Councillor Melia.
Yes,
Councillor Kay Miller. Councillor Miller. Councillor Danny Millard.
Present.
Councillor Paul Moore.
Here.
Councillor Iqbal Padda.
Here.
Councillor Sue Phillips.
Here.
Councillor Bob Piper.
Here.
Councillor Ian Priest.
I'm here, Chair.
Councillor Laura Rollins.
Here.
Councillor Mohammed Rolfe. Councillor Mohammed Rolfe. Councillor Paul Sanders.
Here.
Councillor Anne Shackleton.
Here.
Councillor Farah Shaheen.
Here.
Councillor Karen Sims.
Here.
Councillor Rajbir Singh.
Here.
Councillor Mahinder Taggar.
Yes.
Councillor Jackie Taylor.
Good evening, I'm here.
Councillor Joyce Underhill.
Here. Councillor Good.
Here.
Councillor Julie Webb. Councillor Webb. Councillor Caroline White.
Yes, I'm here.
Councillor Christopher Worsey.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, John Edwards is here now. I lost my mic for a while.
Welcome, John.
Thank you.
Right. I'm sorry to hear that Chris Tant has been taken into hospital. I'm sure you'll join me in sending him our best wishes for a speedy recovery. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I mentioned that I'm here, but Councillor Baba.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer.
Thank you. Members to declare any interest in to be discussed at the meeting. I haven't received any declarations in advance of the meeting. Does anyone have any interest to declare? None mentioned, none received. Item 3, I'll move the minutes of the meeting held on the 9th of July 2020 and that these are confirmed as a correct record. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second those. Maria Compton.
Thank you very much. Are they approved as a correct record?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Any dissenters?
Aye.
I'll take that. Thank you very much. Item 4, to consider items of urgent business. I haven't been made aware of any items of urgent business for this evening's meeting. Moves on to the Mayor's announcements. Not a lot. Owing to the current situation, sadly, I can't go and do the usual sort of mayoral duties. I've done a number of media interviews, one for TV and mostly for radio. In addition, the team have arranged a number of special age birthday cards to be sent, including one to one of our honorary aldermen and to a resident who recently celebrated her 100th birthday That was really nice because she lives in the next street and I've been her doctor for 30 years. So I think I've done okay then. And the details of this woman and her life have been shared on Discover Sandwell and the Mayor's page and Sandwell Facebook page and have been well received. As you might expect, there won't be any bonfire night celebrations, no bonfires, no fireworks. There will be Christmas lights in the towns, but there won't be any switching on events and fairs, as you might have expected. I do want to reassure our residents that we'll do our best to keep the lights on and to help out people in people running shops and have some sort of Christmas spirit, even if we can't hold the usual events that go with them. Likewise, there won't be a carol concert, certainly not of the usual type, and there certainly will not be a virtual choir of councillors singing Christmas carols, not if I have anything to do with it. On a more serious note, the civic staff have been working closely with colleagues in the other West Midlands civic offices, West Midlands Lieutenancy and National Civic Officers, to ensure that remembrance is commemorated in the most appropriate manner under the current circumstances, whilst adhering to government guidelines. So there will be events to commemorate Armistice Day, Remembrance Sunday, but they obviously won't be of the usual type. The details are being finalised and you'll be informed of those as soon as possible, certainly in the near future. So those will be shared. Likewise, there won't be a Remembrance Day concert, which has generally been very well received. And that's really about it. So moving on to matters requiring approval and consideration. Item 6, reset and recovery and phase 1 findings. Can I ask Deputy Leader Councillor Crumpton to move the reset and recovery phase 1 findings recommendation? Marie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like the Council to consider the findings of the assessment work undertaken on communities, economy, staff and finance, please.
Yeah.
I think you're supposed to ask for a seconder there, Madam Mayor.
Yeah, I have done. Do I have a seconder?
Yes.
Am I mumbling?
Yes, I second it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Crompton, you have up to 10 minutes to speak to the report and to the recommendations. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to introduce this report, which outlines the findings of the impact assessment work undertaken in phase 1 of our recovery journey. The impact work has focused on 3 areas: community impact, economic impact, and the impact on our staff. This work is really important as it will help us develop and shape our services to ensure that we are meeting the new and emerging needs of the communities in Sandwell. I think it is also important that this information, these findings, are discussed as widely as possible. We need to share what we have found out and add to this the experiences of our partners and stakeholders. The start of these conversations is here today. David is also ensuring that our entire workforce is part of the conversation and that our partners hear these messages too. I'm now going to hand over to Neil Cox to talk to you about our approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Crompton. Good evening, everybody. On the 6th of May 2020, the Emergency Committee approved the Council's approach to the Reset and Recovery Plan. This outlined 3 distinct phases of activity: immediate post-crisis response, consolidation, and moving on to implementation. As part of our immediate post-crisis response, our response plan activity, approved by the Emergency Committee in March, has either been reduced or ceased as appropriate, and where response activity continues to be required over the longer term, this has begun to form part of updated service delivery plans for the relevant teams. In addition to this, we've begun moving services out of lockdown safely, as well as undertaking work to understand the broader impact of COVID-19. And it's the outcome of this work that is outlined in the report that you have been provided with for this evening's meeting. This impact has been considered in terms of its implications on the following areas: the community, the local economy and our staff group, as well as developing our understanding on the impact on the council finances. The full findings have been made available to you in the report and its appendices, so I don't propose to talk through all of them this evening. However, I will highlight some of the key issues which will inform the development and implementation of plans as we move through to stage 2 and 3 of this process. Clearly, it's likely to take some significant time to understand the overall financial impact of the pandemic on the council. We know there was an initial shortfall of £4.2 million against the COVID emergency grant funding. However, this has improved in recent months due to an improvement in the estimated shortfall against council tax and business rates. Obviously, the position will continue to change throughout the remainder of the financial year and will need to be incorporated into the current review of the council's medium-term financial strategy. For our communities, overall, we've found that the local effect of COVID-19 has reflected that of the national picture, with many residents experiencing issues around mental health, food insecurity, digital exclusion, financial hardship and social stresses. As I'm sure you'll be aware, BAME communities have been affected more acutely by the pandemic, and that's no different in Sandwell. Clearly, our work now needs to focus on doing something different to address the underlying vulnerabilities which have exacerbated the effects of COVID on our residents. Amongst other things, this will include focusing more resources in areas of most need and ensuring engagement is done in the right way and is culturally sensitive. In terms of the impact on the local economy, we've sought to capture national and regional intelligence, as well as intelligence from the West Midlands Combined Authority and the Black Country Local Enterprise Partnership. For businesses, we are anticipating a productivity drop in the local economy of 36% of gross value added during Q2 of this year, with predictions from relevant bodies also suggesting that 25% of small to medium enterprises will close during 2020. For people living in the borough, clearly having the lowest gross disposable household income per head in the West Midlands places us at a significant disadvantage. It's also anticipated that young people will disproportionately feel the impact of the pandemic due to a lack of apprenticeship vacancies, university options, unstable employment, as well as those people at age 50 plus who were disproportionately impacted during the previous economic crises. To understand the impact on our staff, we've drawn on results of staff surveys, HR data, staff focus groups, and feedback received in virtual staff conferences. The feedback we've received is that staff have coped well with adapting quickly to new working styles and maintaining service delivery in adverse circumstances. However, we recognise that this style of working has not suited everybody. In response to the continuing need to deliver services in a new way in the future, we need to now define the new operating model for the organisation and embed this whilst ensuring we balance the needs of staff with the needs of the organisation, paying particular attention to the communications mechanisms we have in place in light of remote working and having a far more dispersed workforce. Moving on to our Phase 2 activity, as stated in the Emergency Committee report from May 2020, the recovery plan will be driven by the strategic outcomes in our corporate plan. The job we have to do now is to use the intelligence generated in our impact analysis to inform the development of a revised corporate plan to establish where we may need to reshape or enhance provision. Thank you for allowing me the time to present this report to you. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. I assume everyone's read the report, so thank you for that, summarising that nicely. Got Councillor Priest who'd like to speak.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment about the good work of scrutiny around this issue as well. Scrutiny considered the report, or the reports, back on the 25th of September, I believe, and we highlighted a number of points around staff welfare and also the public's expectations of us as an authority going forward. And as Neil said, being really clear about our internal and external communications as soon as we possibly can. And senior officers were really receptive to scrutiny's questions during that session. So, this has been thoroughly aired in scrutiny, and it's a very welcome set of reports. And members of the public can go back and watch that meeting if they want to see what was asked. I don't know if Councillor Giles wants to come in at all and make any further comment as he led that session, but I just wanted to state that scrutiny had looked at this, and we'd asked several questions, and officers have been very open and receptive to it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Costigan.
Yeah, thank you, Neil, for that report. I was just looking on page 3 where you've got the implementation. As the implementation actually goes into February, I just thought it might be, if we could possibly have a month-to-month report going forward. I know this is in this report, I'm just thinking for us as councillors would be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Peter Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's 4 issues I want to come in on. First of all, to know whether there's been any impact on fostering, whether children have gone into foster care during this period, and if so, what impact there's been. Secondly, the one thing that runs through all of this report is mental health, and obviously, expenditure on mental health hasn't necessarily been great in the past. There's been a lot of emphasis on physical health rather than mental health, and I'm concerned that if the right approaches and committed expenditure aren't going to address this, we've got a time bomb waiting to happen here in many ways. The third point is in relation to digital inclusion. I think what especially the period of lockdown has proven is how isolated some people are. So you've got people on low income that don't have access to digital communication. And you've got the elderly who were particularly isolated during this period and continue to be so. I think part of the action plan that comes out of this has got to be to address this digital divide. I know it's picked up, but it's really got to be drilled down with in Sandwell if we're going to basically cross that gap. I mean, we ourselves, I think what is proven with staff being dispersed, the attempts of elderly people in particular trying to get through to Sandwell Council on the phone, and even us as councillors at times, has been incredibly difficult. People are told to go digital, and unfortunately they don't have access. The libraries have been closed down, so the computers haven't been there for them to access. We've got to do something about it. Lastly is the volunteering aspect to this, and it's picked up on page 30 of Appendix 1. Now, I'm talking from our experience in Wednesbury here. There was a volunteering group that actually set itself up to actually deal with the problems that were occurring in Wednesbury. As far as I'm concerned, the council didn't do enough to basically interface with that group. If this sort of thing happens again, that needs to be put right. The other thing is that quite a few volunteers, including mature people and in some cases elderly people, came forward to assist that group. It's now disbanded. Unless the council had kept in contact with that group, which didn't happen, that volunteering capacity has now dispersed. We needed to have captured it. Those are just 4 points. I'm making points, but there was a couple of questions in there as well.
Thank you. Is anyone else wishing to speak? Councillor Ali is seconded. Do you wish to say anything?
No, I'm quite okay, Councillor.
Thank you. Councillor Crumpton, you've the right to reply if you wish.
My mic, I forgot you have to put it on and take it off. Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you, Liam, for and Luke and all the scrutiny chairs. To be fair, I'm really pleased that they became involved and scrutinised this piece of work, and their input is hugely appreciated. We are, I think, probably members will have seen over the last short while that we have gone out of our way to keep them informed on many things, and obviously as this moves forward, we will continue to do that and keep you informed. And if there's any questions you feel that you've not had answered, by all means you can always come back, you can phone or email or whatever, and you will get an answer. With regard to Pete, yeah, I think we have learnt a lot of things from this piece of work, and I can't give you a direct update on the impact on fostering, but I am sure it will have had an effect on fostering in exactly the same way as it will have had effect on every other household in the borough and across the country for that matter. The mental health issues, yes, they are bound to have risen. Just anyone being isolated for such a long time, and we will take that up with both the NHS and with our own services to deal with that if the need should arise. I was going to say if we get locked down again. I'm praying we don't get locked down again. But even without being locked down, we still need to take that up. Digital inclusion, yeah, I appreciate the libraries have been closed, and some people will find it difficult. If we can assist with that, we will. It's difficult in some cases when people are elderly that they aren't able to do that themselves, but most have got family that can help, and those that haven't, we will try to make sure that our telephone systems are able to answer their calls, and if there's a particular problem with any town in particular, if you can report that to us, then we will take that up. With the volunteering, SCVO have been dealing with most of the stuff from the volunteers, and if the group that you mentioned, Pete, had difficulties, I would ask, did you refer them to SCVO at all? If not, we can always ask SCVO to contact them. That's not a problem at all. Hopefully that will have answered the questions that have arisen. And if there's nothing else, I think we can move the recommendations. If the Mayor would like to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The recommendation is simply to consider the findings from the impact assessment work undertaken on communities, economy, staff and finance, and I think we've done that. I'll take this opportunity to thank all our staff for keeping all our services going through the most trying of times. Shall we move now to item number 7, which is the revised senior management structure proposals. Can I invite Councillor Ali to move the revised senior management structure proposal recommendations?
Yes, I move the agenda item.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Yes, I'll second that, Madam Mayor. Maria Crompton.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ali, you have up to 10 minutes to introduce the subject.
Thank you. Sorry, Madam Mayor, I must apologise from the offset. I'm currently having difficulty getting to my laptop, so therefore I'm having to use a handheld device, and unfortunately won't be able to put my camera on.
That's fine, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So this report for consideration by Council this evening was approved at Chief Officer's Terms and Conditions Committee on the 1st of July for onward recommendation to you this evening. This has been through a significant amount of consultation, both with officers affected by the proposals and also with scrutiny colleagues. The report proposes a new flatter leadership structure for the council, one that is focused on delivering key strategic priorities for the council, as described in our agreed corporate plan, Big Plans for a Great Place. The proposal looks to create a structure that would deliver on those ambitions and outcomes by organising the staffing structure in a way that allows for more effective working and efficiencies of scale to be released. Work started jointly with the senior leadership team on this proposed structure towards the end of last year, with the first outline considered by committee in February this year, where approval was given for formal consultation with the directly affected employees. This period of consultation was extended to take account of the impact of COVID-19, but concluded in June. After their meeting on the 1st of July, members of the committee considered the results of the consultation alongside the report from the Chief Executive, and it was approved for recommendation to Council this evening. Since that meeting, the committee in July, there have been a number of meetings with members of scrutiny, and the report was considered at the meeting on the 25th of September. The proposed senior management structure also recognises that there are a number of key priority areas for the Council that need to be effectively managed and driven. These are described in paragraph 3.4 of the report attached to Appendix 1. These proposals see a number of new posts created, coupled with some roles remaining largely unchanged. It is important to say that there are enough posts on the new structure for all members of the existing senior leadership team. The proposal is outlined in detail in the report. However, in summary, the proposal will see a creation of new 6 posts, including a Deputy Chief Executive, Director of Borough and Communities, Director of Business Strategy and Change, Director of Children and Education, Director of Finance, and Director of Housing. In addition to these, the existing posts of Director of Adult Social Care, Director of Law and Governance and Monitoring Officer, Director of Public Health and Director of Regeneration and Growth will remain unchanged. In the current climate, where we are facing increasing pressure on our budget, it is also important to state that these proposed changes will see an overall annual saving of over £100,000. To achieve all the above, it is also recognised that if the proposed structure, proposed senior management team structure is approved today, there will be a need to give further consideration to where existing services currently sit and where they should sit under the proposed structure, restructure. The headline proposal for the realignment of services is attached as Appendix 2, but will also be subject to ongoing consultation with the leadership team both prior to and after appointment in order that the Council is best placed to meet the challenges of the coming period and taking account of the experiences of the last few months and how we are organised ourselves to respond to the challenges of COVID-19. In conclusion, the current senior leadership structure was agreed over 3 years ago in February 2017 to meet the challenges that faced the organisation at that particular point in time. The challenges that the Council now faces are different, and it's important to recognise that this and organise ourselves in a way that places it in the very best position possible to respond to the challenges and overcome them. This proposal creates a flatter, more focused structure that will enable the Council to deliver its ambitious outcomes, priorities and the needs for the residents and the businesses of Sandal. Should the recommendations be approved and the revised structure implemented, the Council's scheme of delegation will require associated changes to ensure that it accords to the management structure. Whilst the majority of these will be administrative in nature, there will be where any substantial changes are required, these will be submitted to a future meeting of Council for approval. The recommendations are set out in the report, namely that the recommendations of the Chief Officer's Term and Conditions Committee in relation to the senior management structure be approved and that the Director of Law and Governance be granted delegated authority to make administrative amendments to the Council's constitution in accordance with the resulting required changes arisen from the senior management structure review. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. I haven't got any hands up. Does anyone wish to speak to this debate? Councillor Luke Giles. Councillor Giles. Councillor Luke Giles.
Yeah, obviously scrutiny done a lot of work around this, and I just want to thank David and the team for bringing it to scrutiny and taking everything that we mentioned on board. And I just want to say a massive thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Yvonne Davis.
Hi, I really wanted to congratulate the senior management team and the acting leader and the cabinet for having pursued this despite all the political nonsense that we've had. So I just wanted to say a very big thank you for people focusing on what's important and not getting wrapped up in nonsense.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Crompton, a seconder, do you wish to come in?
No, I think other than to say thank you to Councillor Giles for the scrutiny work that's been done on this also. Thank you.
Councillor Ali, you have the right to reply if you wish.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Just to sum up, I want to thank all the members and officers that have been involved in this, particularly scrutiny, who have done a great deal of work in holding the chief executive to account to ensure that they're happy and it meets with the members' requirements. So that's been a fabulous piece of work that they've been doing. And also, hopefully, we can get together, work together to make sure we have a structure that's befitting of the challenges that we're facing post COVID-19. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Councillor Peter Hughes. Right, Councillor, I'll lower that. Councillor Peter Hughes, a little bit late, but you've got some.
I do apologise, Madam Mayor. I would like to point out that scrutiny is an important thing, and whilst people might consider there might have been some nonsense, to consider that a report of this nature, which is so important, should not be scrutinised, I think that's foolish. And I think everybody has recognised the role of scrutiny in this report, and I think that basically says it all.
Thank you. Councillor Crompton has, of course, acknowledged the role of scrutiny. Thank you very much. Okay. So, further to minute number 11 out of 20 of the Chief Officer's Terms and Conditions Committee, it's now proposed that the revised senior management structure, including the realignment of services, be approved, and to authorise the Director of Law and Governance to make administrative amendments to the Council's constitution in accordance with the resulting required changes arising from the senior management review. So, can I ask for a vote to be taken on the following: to approve the revised senior management structure, including the realignment of services, and to authorise the Director of Law and Governance to make administrative amendments to the Council's constitution in accordance with the resulting required changes arising from the senior management review. Do you want to take a named vote? Or?
Yes,
we do.
Thank you. Councillor Zahoor Ahmed.
For.
Councillor Shaheen Akhtar.
Councillor Shaheen Akhtar?
I think her microphone's off.
Okay, I'll come back. Councillor Samir Akhtar.
For.
Councillor Wasim Ali.
For.
Councillor Keith Orcock.
For.
Councillor Peter Allen.
For.
Councillor Lorraine Ashman.
For.
Councillor Babu Singh Bauer. I'll come back, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Ahmed Boston.
For.
Councillor Kerry Carmichael.
For.
Councillor Bill Cherrington.
For.
Councillor Ginny Chidley.
For.
Councillor Elaine Costigan.
For.
Councillor Maria Crompton.
For.
Councillor Sharon Davis.
For.
Councillor Yvonne Davis.
Bower's microphone's off.
For.
Councillor Balu Dalu. Councillor Susan Downing.
For.
Councillor Susan Eves.
For.
Councillor John Edwards.
For.
Councillor Bill Gavin. Councillor Gavin.
For.
Thank you, Councillor Gavin. Councillor Elaine Giles.
For.
Councillor Elizabeth Giles.
For.
Councillor Luke Giles.
For.
Councillor Gerdish Gill.
For.
Councillor Manjit Gill.
For.
Councillor Simon Hackett.
For.
Councillor Joanne Hadley.
For.
Councillor Suzanne Hartwell.
For.
Councillor Sandra Hevican.
For.
Councillor Linda Horton.
Yeah, 4, sorry, 4.
Thank you, Councillor Pam Hughes.
4.
Councillor Peter Hughes.
4.
Councillor Mushtaq Hussain.
4.
Councillor Zahir Hussain.
4.
Dr Anne Yaron. 4. Councillor Anne Jarvis.
4.
Councillor Ian Jones.
4.
Councillor Olwyn Jones.
4.
Councillor Richard Jones.
4.
Councillor Stephen Jones.
4.
Councillor Seika Kulsa.
4.
Councillor Saida Khatoon.
4.
Councillor Thabuso Mabina.
4.
Councillor Richard McVitie.
4.
Councillor Steve Melia.
4.
Councillor Kay Miller. Councillor Miller. Sorry, Councillor Miller, was that?
Okay.
4.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Danny Millard.
4.
Councillor Paul Moore.
4.
Councillor Iqbal Padda.
4.
Councillor Sue Phillips.
4.
Councillor Bob Piper.
4.
Councillor Liam Priest.
4.
Councillor Laura Rollins.
4.
Councillor Mohammed Ralph.
4.
Councillor Paul Sanders.
4.
Councillor Anne Shackleton.
4.
Councillor Farah Shaheen.
4.
Councillor Karen Sims.
4.
Councillor Rajbir Singh.
4.
Councillor Mahinda Taggar. Was that full? Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Taggar. Councillor Jackie Taylor.
4.
Councillor Joyce Underhill.
4.
Councillor Judy Webb.
4.
Councillor Caroline White.
4.
Councillor Christopher Worsey.
4.
And can I just check Councillor Shaheen Akhtar?
4. Thanks for coming back to me.
Thank you. And Councillor Bauer?
He's gone again. Councillor Bauer. Babelson Bauer? You've gone again. Is he still on?
He's on. He's on. He came on. He's not. He's gone.
4.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Bauer.
Thank you very much. Well, that certainly took some time in doing, but thank you very much for bringing that along. So I'll go to the next phase. Now it has to be implemented. Moving on to agenda item 8. Agenda item 8. Proposals depart from the local plan at West Bromwich Street, Albury. Can I invite Councillor Millard to move the proposal to depart from the local plan at West Bromwich Street, Albury?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to propose the departure from the local plan at West Bromwich Street, Albury.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
I second that, Councillor Orcock.
Sorry, who's that? Councillor Orcock. Thank you very much. Councillor Millard, you've got up to 10 minutes to speak to the report. If you can make it more concise, that'd be great.
I'll do my best, Madam Mayor. The report seeks to the authority to allow departure to the land and development plan in respect of a planning application for a residential development at West Bromwich Street, Painting Lane in Albury. The application was for the construction of 152 houses and a further 82 apartments. The site, informally known as the Junction site, has been vacant for a number of years, so it's a really good opportunity. The purpose of the report is to discuss the departure only. Members cannot rerun the full planning application that has already gone through the committee process. So that was all done. The application was approved at Planning Committee on the 8th of July 2020. However, as the site's allocated for mixed use purposes, including retail and leisure, rather than residential, the application is considered a departure from an adopted policy, and as such, we have to refer it to full council for a decision. The recommendation is for the departure from the site allocations and delivery plan document be approved. It is considered highly unlikely that a viable scheme would come forward for the allocated mixed-use leisure retail, particularly in the current market. Housing provision is much needed within Sandwell, and this scheme will help contribute to the housing delivery targets, and therefore, on balance, it's a considered approach to depart from the adopted policy on this occasion. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for being nice and concise. I'll open the matter for debate. Remember, we are not discussing the substance of the application, merely the strategic deviation from the development plan. Anyone wish to speak? Councillor Peter Hughes. Councillor Peter Hughes. Anyone else?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Very often when these applications come before the full council, there is a degree of division in relation to it, even though we end up approving them. I think for once, I think there would be an overwhelming approval of this. If ever there was a site that needed developing and looks like a blot on the landscape, this is one. And quite rightly will address the massive housing gap that there is in Sandwell, and I think we just need to get on with it now.
Thank you. Councillor Linda Horton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I totally agree with what Pete Hughes has just said. We've waited so long and looked at so many different organisations to come along and develop this land that I think the people of Sandwell and the council itself will be really pleased to actually have something happening, and it will actually address the shortfall in our housing situation. I would like to ask members to agree with this, and I will certainly vote for it to go through. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Susan Downing.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As one of the Albury councillors and chair of planning, I look forward for this application and change of use for this piece of land. I highly recommend it. In my role as Albury councillor, in the 12 years that I have been councillor, there has actually been 4 applications received on this land, and none have been forthcoming. So I hope that this will materialise, and it is a needed area. It is a blight on Albury town, and I think it will finish the town off nicely with much needed housing. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Millard, you have the right to reply if you wish.
Well, that all seemed quite positive, so I'm quite happy just to move to the vote.
Okay, so let me read out what we're voting on. Can I ask for a vote to be taken on the proposal to approve an exception to the local development plan in respect of planning application DC 2064152, which is a proposed development of 152 2, 3 and 4 bedroom dwellings and 82 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, together with associated roads, car parking, open space and associated work.
Thank you.
Again, can you keep your mics on but mute them as soon as you've spoken?
Councillor Zahur Ahmed.
For.
Councillor Shaheen Akhtar.
For.
Councillor Samir Akhtar.
For.
Councillor Wasim Ali.
For.
Councillor Keith Alcock.
For.
Councillor Peter Allen.
For.
Councillor Rain Ashman.
For.
Councillor Babu Singh Bauer. Councillor Bauer. I come back to Councillor Bauer. Councillor Ahmed Boston.
4.
Councillor Kerry Carmichael.
4.
Councillor Bill Cherrington.
4.
Councillor Ginny Chidley.
4.
Councillor Elaine Costigan.
4.
Councillor Maria Crompton.
4.
Councillor Sharon Davis.
4.
Councillor Yvonne Davis.
4.
Councillor Bauer Dalu.
4.
Councillor Susan Downing.
4.
Councillor Susan Eves.
4.
Councillor John Edwards.
4.
Councillor Bill Gavin. Councillor Gavin.
Come back to him.
Councillor Elaine Giles.
4.
Councillor Elizabeth Giles.
4.
Councillor Luke Giles.
4.
Councillor Gerdish Gill.
4.
Councillor Manjit Gill.
4.
Councillor Simon Hackett.
4.
Councillor Joanne Hadley.
4.
Councillor Suzanne Hartwell.
4.
Councillor Sandra Heatherton.
4.
Councillor Linda Horton.
4.
Councillor Pam Hughes.
4.
Councillor Peter Hughes.
4.
Councillor Mushtaq Hussain.
4.
Councillor Zahir Hussain.
4.
Councillor Dr Anne Yaron.
4.
Councillor Anne Jarvis.
4.
Councillor Ian Jones.
4.
Councillor Olwyn Jones.
4.
Councillor Richard Jones.
4.
Councillor Stephen Jones.
4.
Councillor Saika Corsa.
4.
Councillor Saida Khatun.
4.
Councillor Thabuzo Mabina.
4.
Councillor Richard McVitie.
4.
Councillor Steve Melia.
4.
Councillor Kay Miller. Councillor Danny Millard.
4.
Councillor Paul Moore.
4.
Councillor Iqbal Padder.
4.
Councillor Sue Phillips.
4.
Councillor Bob Piper.
4.
Councillor Liam Priest.
4.
Councillor Laura Rollins.
4.
Councillor Mohammed Rolfe.
4.
Councillor Paul Sanders.
4.
Councillor Anne Shackleton.
4.
Councillor Farah Shaheen.
4.
Councillor Karen Sims.
4.
Councillor Rajbir Singh.
4.
Councillor Mahinda Tagga. Sorry, Councillor Mahinda. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Tagga. Councillor Jackie Taylor.
4.
Councillor Joyce Underhill.
4.
Councillor Julie Webb.
4.
Councillor Caroline White.
4.
Councillor Christopher Worsey.
4.
And I need to go back to Councillor Babu Singh Bauer. Councillor Bauer.
4 is 4.
Thank you. And I'm not sure whether we've still got Councillor Bill Gavin on the call. Councillor Gavin? I think he's
disappeared.
I think he's gone.
Thank you very much. So that's carried. Look forward to that development progressing. Another planning application. Proposals depart from the local plan at Prince's Foundry, Bradley's Lane, Tipton. Can I invite Councillor Millard to move the proposal to depart from the local plan at West Bromwich Street, Oldbury.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's Prince's Foundry, Bradley's Lane, Tipton, but I'd like to propose the departure from the local plan, please.
Sorry, Chair, do you want to repeat? That's for the seconder you're on you.
Yes. So a seconder.
Yes, Councillor Dalu.
Councillor Dowler, thank you. Anyone wish to, Councillor Miller, do you want to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll try and make it nice and brief again. The report seeks authority to allow another departure from the local plan in respect of a planning application for a proposed new unit and open storage bays at Prince's Foundry, Bradley Lane, Tipton. The site is currently an existing waste site, and the purpose of the report is to discuss the departure only. Like we've said, it's not about the planning application. The application itself was approved at the Planning Committee on the 10th of June 2020. However, as the site is allocated for housing, the application is considered a departure from the adopted policy, and as such must be referred to the full council. The recommendation is the departure from the site allocations and delivery plan be approved. It is considered highly unlikely that a viable scheme would come forward for a comprehensive redevelopment for housing use. It's likely that the current landowner would be unwilling to release the land for residential development anyway. And furthermore, the proposal involves the upgrading of the existing waste site, and there's a massive shortage of available employment sites to relocate the company anyway. So therefore, on balance, it will make it look a much prettier site and everything as well. It does improve it vastly, but on balance, it's considered appropriate to depart from the adopted policy on this occasion. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Stephen Jones.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I was asked to refer this to the Planning Committee on behalf of my residents. And it's just a quick question, really, is that these residents, my residents, have had blight from this boundary for absolutely years. It's on the boundary of a primary school, Walbrook Primary School. I'm just wondering, the next agenda, which is climate change, on item 10, it says we must have clean air, carbon reduction, health and well-being, and yet we've expected to approve a departure for a big bloody furnace what's belching out carbon dioxide into the air. I'm just a bit bemused by the decisions.
Okay, Councillor Steve Melia.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I'm just going to make a comment, as I've made many times before. We're approving all these houses and the changes of alteration of sites, but we're not talking about amenities to go with them. I would like to see an investigation into what we can put there for the people who are going to live in these new estates, because they are new estates. 148 houses is quite an estate, to be honest. I'd like to see some amenities considered. Thank you.
It's the last application, isn't it? There's no houses on here, is there?
Yes, Madam Mayor, can I come back in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, no, it's a proposal to expand the existing foundry. So it's a proposal to expand and expand the capacity to burn more rubbish, to burn more aluminium, to burn more scrap metal, keep belching out into the atmosphere of Sandwell, keep polluting our residents, and it's right next to a junior school. So I can't see how we can offer agenda item 10, how does this get to our climate change strategy? How does that work?
So that's noted. Steve Media, I think you're mixing up this item with the previous item because there's no housing proposed on here. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Councillor Priest.
Councillor Priest?
Yeah, sorry, Madam Mayor. Just a very quick question, building on Councillor Jones's points. Is there a risk that this business would move elsewhere if this application wasn't granted at this meeting this evening? Is that a risk at all?
I think. Can I come back in? I think my residents and the people who pay our council.
Sorry. Who's speaking?
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. That's. Councillor Millard, you can come back in and answer that question from Councillor Priest. Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
Councillor Webb.
Councillor Webb. Julie Webb.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is, have the local councillors representing Dudley been spoken to about this proposal, consulted?
Okay. Yeah, Councillor Millard can answer that. Peter Hughes, Councillor Peter Hughes.
Sorry for the delay, Madam Mayor. I'm trying to understand where one of the commentators has come from here, because the proposals say the applicant proposes to construct on the existing waste site a new unit to house existing plant securely and 8 open storage bays for segregation of ferrous and non-ferrous materials. From what I can see on that application, there's no expansion of burning of waste. It's existing plant and just new storage bays. So I can't see where the objection or statement in relation to even more what would you effects on the climate. It's going to be what's existing there already. So it's not, you know, we could, if presumably if we didn't agree to this, as Councillor Priest has intimated, we could well lose the employment and the business to Samwell and the accompanying business rates. So, you know, if it's no increase in what we've got as a problem already, I can't see the objection.
Thank you. Councillor Jenny Chidley.
Hello. Yes, I was on the planning committee for this. I agree with what Pete's just said. It was for existing storage. So that's it, really.
Okay, Councillor Ian Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I was also on the planning committee and had reservations about the plans. There is a school quite near, and there has been fallout from this business in its current operation. The new facilities, I don't believe, will help with the situation other than to tidy up the site. The actual fallout and air pollution has been there for many years, and residents have complained to local authorities through myself and other members regarding this matter.
Julie Webb, have you put your hand up again, or are you just not taking your hand down?
No, I've put it up again, Madam Mayor.
Okay, well, just generally, we should say all in one go, but yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Have the Environment Agency been consulted with this? Because there's a similar operation down in Bloomfield, which is in Dudley, which is affecting the people of Sandwell as well. Thank you.
Separate matter, okay. Councillor Daly, you're the second. Do you wish to speak? No? Councillor Daly, did you wish to speak? Sorry, we're having some... Okay. Councillor Millard, would you like to reply to some of those queries, please?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. What I would say is, firstly, Councillor Steve Jones, the first thing I saw when I looked at the map and everything were the school. It was one of the first questions asked about the impact, and actually, Councillor Hughes is correct. It's actually it's not getting any bigger. It's not an extension, and actually it will look cleaner. It'll look tidier, and it will improve the look of it all. So that kind of touches on what Councillor Hughes said as well. In regards to Councillor Priest, that's exactly what you're saying is potentially correct. We have not got anywhere else we could put them in Sandwell. This is, it's a business. It employs people from Sandwell. So actually, it is a real. It's a positive. It's a positive in that sense. In terms of the environmental agency, I can tell you that there were no objections to that. They had no objections to it. So that's another positive. Councillor Webb asked about Dudley. The simple answer is I don't know, but I know we work very closely alongside our colleagues, so I'm sure there's been a conversation.
Thank you very much. We'll move to the vote now. So this is whether or not to allow a departure to the local development plan in respect of planning application DC 1963745, the proposed new unit and open storage base at Princess Foundry, Bradley Street, Tipton, DY49EZ.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Zahor Ahmed.
For.
Councillor Shaheen Akhtar.
For.
Councillor Samir Akhtar.
For.
Councillor Wasim Ali.
For.
Councillor Keith Alcock.
For.
Councillor Peter Allen.
For.
Councillor Lorraine Ashman.
For.
Councillor Babu Singh Bauer.
For.
Councillor Ahmed Boston. Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Boston.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Kerry Carmichael.
For.
Councillor Bill Cherrington.
Against.
Councillor Ginny Chidley.
For.
Councillor Elaine Costigan.
For.
Councillor Maria Crompton.
For.
Councillor Sharon Davis. Councillor Yvonne Davis.
For.
Councillor Bauer Dalu.
For.
Councillor Susan Downing.
For.
Councillor Susan Eves.
For.
Councillor John Edwards.
For.
Councillor Bill Gavin.
For.
Councillor Elaine Giles.
For.
Councillor Elizabeth Giles.
For.
Councillor Luke Giles.
For.
Councillor Gerdish Gill.
For.
Councillor Manjit Gill.
For.
Councillor Simon Hackett.
For.
Councillor Joanne Hadley.
For.
Councillor Suzanne Hartwell.
For.
Councillor Sandra Hevican.
For.
Councillor Linda Horton.
Abstain.
Councillor Pam Hughes.
For.
Councillor Peter Hughes.
For.
Councillor Mushtaq Hussain.
For.
Councillor Zahir Hussain.
For.
Councillor Dr Anne Yaron. Councillor Anne Jarvis.
For.
Councillor Ian Jones.
Against.
Councillor Owen Jones.
Abstain.
Councillor Richard Jones.
For.
Councillor Stephen Jones.
Against.
Councillor Sika Corsa.
For.
Councillor Saida Khatun.
For.
Councillor Thabuso Mabina. Councillor Mabina.
For.
Councillor Richard McVitie.
For.
Councillor Steve Melia.
For.
Councillor Kay Miller. Sorry, was that 4, Councillor Miller?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Danny Millard.
For.
Councillor Paul Moore.
For.
Councillor Iqbal Pada.
For.
Councillor Sue Phillips has left the meeting. Councillor Bob Piper.
For.
Councillor Liam Priest.
For.
Councillor Laura Rollins.
For.
Councillor Mohammed Ralph.
4.
Councillor Paul Sandars.
4.
Councillor Anne Shackleton.
4.
Councillor Farah Shaheen.
4.
Councillor Karen Sims.
Abstain.
Councillor Rajbir Singh.
4.
Councillor Mahinda Taggar.
4.
Councillor Jackie Taylor.
Abstain.
Councillor Joyce Underhill.
4.
Councillor Julie Webb.
Abstain.
Councillor Caroline White.
4.
Councillor Christopher Woolsey.
4.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And so that's carried. Moving on now to item 10. Sorry. The climate change strategy. The recommendation is that council be recommended to approve the climate change strategies 2020 to 2041. Councillor Ali, would you like to move the motion?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I wish to move the motion. So the recommendation, that is.
Thank you. And do I have a seconder?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I would like to second that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ali, you now have 10 minutes to sum up the next 21 years.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In January of this year, I took a draft climate change strategy to Cabinet, seeking approval to submit it to a 2-month period for public consultation. This involved a series of public meetings as well as an online survey, giving residents and others the opportunity to share their views on our proposals for addressing the challenges of climate change. Following the results of the public consultation and along with the new evidence about the challenges of addressing climate change, this report seeks to support the revised climate change strategy and endorsement of the corporate targets of carbon neutrality of Sandwell Council and the wider borough. Cabinet endorsed the strategy in August. Despite the challenges with the current pandemic poses, climate change remains the most significant long-term threat to our existence. Unfortunately, though, there is now a large body of evidence showing how climate change impacts upon us. The UK levels of carbon dioxide are continuing to rise each year, and our climate is warming and becoming increasingly unstable. In March of this year, we joined many other councils across the UK in declaring a climate emergency, in recognition of both the seriousness of the threat that climate change proposes and the urgency required from our response. The climate change strategy includes 2 key targets. Firstly, that our own estate and operations will be carbon neutral by 2030, and secondly, that the borough will become carbon neutral by 2041. 2041 is also the target set by the combined authority for carbon neutrality. As well as outlining the scale of the challenges for dealing with climate change, the strategy includes a high-level action plan designed to meet our target dates of 2030 and 2041. The action plan covers our own estate, our operation, the built environment, transport, waste and recycling, adaptation and resilience, and natural capital. Key to our success will be partnership working with our residents, our businesses, and the wide range of organisations which we already work with, including our trade unions. We need to lead by example too, and be willing to address existing ways of working to help decarbonise our economy and embrace a new circular economy. The benefits of addressing climate change are widespread and include improved air quality, reducing fuel poverty, ensuring long-term viability of our businesses, enhancing the image of Sandwell through an intensive programme of tree planting and improvements in the health and quality of our residents. I recommend that Council approve the report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I haven't got any hands up at the moment. Does anyone wish to speak to this debate? Councillor McVitie. Councillor McVitie?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the work of the Climate Change Programme Manager and the officers on the committee for developing what is a progressive plan for Sandwell for the future.
Thank you very much. Councillor Boston.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Mayor, and I echo Councillor McVitie's sentiments and the wider strategy itself. However, I'm increasingly concerned about the fact that trees continue to be destroyed in Sandwell by some private developers. I welcome the council's commitment to plant thousands of trees, which is essential for the environment, but can we get assurance that the council and cabinet will do far more to crack down on some private developers who are going in, taking advantage of the fact that some trees are not preserved and actually destroying them for private developments, as was the case in my ward on the Poplar Road recently. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Councillor Crompton, as a seconder, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to just say to Councillor Boston that in general, when we have planning applications and trees are removed, we insist on additional trees being planted, usually in the same area, but if not, additional trees are usually planted elsewhere. There is a commitment to do that, alongside our huge commitment to plant thousands of trees, 5,000 a year, for the next up to 10 years. I'm fully in favour of our climate change strategy, and hopefully everyone will appreciate the work that officers and staff have been doing towards that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ali, do you have the right to reply?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just on Councillor Boston's point, if there's any specifics in his case that he wishes to raise with me, I'm happy to have a conversation with him. I know that he's briefly spoken to me about it before, but I sense from his comments it's not resolved yet, so I'm happy to take this case forward. In relation to Councillor McVitie's point, absolutely thank the officers for all the work they're doing, and also particularly to the members of the steering committee. I know this is a recently new committee that's been set up. I think we've been able to do some fantastic work in a short period of time, but most importantly and above all, to the residents who are participating in the survey and all the activities that we've been doing in the consultation, and the staff at the council who have participated in our surveys and the online consultation, for all their work and helping making this a reality. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to you, Chief Executive.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Zahor Ahmed.
Oh, sorry, I didn't read it out. The vote is simply that we vote on the proposal to approve the Climate Change Strategy 2020 to 2041.
Thank you. Councillor Zahor Ahmed.
For.
Councillor Shaheen Akhtar.
For.
Councillor Samia Akhtar.
For.
Councillor Wasim Ali.
For.
Councillor Keith Alcock.
For.
Councillor Peter Allen.
For.
Councillor Lorraine Ashman.
For.
Councillor Babu Singh Boa.
For.
Councillor Ahmed Boston.
For.
Councillor Kerry Carmichael.
For.
Councillor Bill Cherrington.
For.
Councillor Ginny Chidley.
For.
Councillor Elaine Costigan.
For.
Councillor Maria Crompton.
For.
Councillor Sharon Davis.
For.
Councillor Yvonne Davis.
For.
Councillor Bawa Dalu.
For.
Councillor Susan Downing.
For.
Councillor Susan Eves.
For.
Councillor John Edwards.
For.
Councillor Bill Gavin.
For.
Councillor Elaine Giles.
For.
Councillor Elizabeth Giles.
For.
Councillor Luke Giles.
For.
Councillor Gerdish Gill.
For.
Councillor Manjit Gill.
For.
Councillor Simon Hackett.
For.
Councillor Joanne Hadley.
For.
Councillor Suzanne Hartwell.
For.
Councillor Sandra Hevican.
For.
Linda Horton's left the call. Councillor Pam Hughes.
For.
Councillor Peter Hughes.
For.
Councillor Mushtaq Hussain.
For.
Councillor Zahir Hussain.
For.
Councillor Dr Anne Yarrow.
For.
Councillor Anne Jarvis.
For.
Councillor Ian Jones.
For.
Councillor Olwyn Jones.
For.
Councillor Richard Jones.
For.
Councillor Stephen Jones.
For.
Councillor Sayika Corsa.
For.
Councillor Saida Khatun,
4.
Councillor Thabuso Mabina,
4.
Councillor Richard McVitie,
4.
Councillor Steve Melia,
4.
Councillor Kay Miller,
4.
Councillor Danny Millard,
4.
Councillor Paul Moore,
4.
Councillor Iqbal Padda,
4.
Susan Phillips has left the call, Councillor Bob Piper,
4.
Councillor Liam Priest,
4.
Councillor Laura Rollins,
4.
Councillor Mohammed Ralph,
4.
Councillor Paul Sandars,
4.
Councillor Anne Shackleton,
4.
Councillor Farah Shaheen,
4.
Councillor Karen Sims,
4.
Councillor Rajbir Singh,
4.
Councillor Mahinda Taggar,
4.
Councillor Jackie Taylor,
4.
Councillor Joyce Underhill,
Joyce?
Councillor Underhill,
4.
thank you. Councillor Judy Webb,
4.
Councillor Caroline White,
4.
Councillor Christopher Worsey.
4.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. I am quite sure that Councillor Ali will have the greatest delight in telling tomorrow's climate change strategy steering group that the proposals were carried through unanimously. I'll see you in the morning. Moving on, item 11, West Midlands Fire and Rescue update. So the update has been submitted in tonight's agenda pack. I'm sure you've all read it. It's a large, comprehensive document. I don't propose to ask Councillor Edwards to summarise it, but you can do if you want, but do it quickly. I assume you'll be okay to answer questions.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, I was asked by member services not to speak to the report tonight, but simply to move it in the interest of time. So I'm happy to comply with that request, Madam Mayor. Thank people for reading the report, and if there are any questions, I'll try and answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions to Councillor Edmonds on fire and rescue? No? Thank you very much. It's a long, comprehensive report with a lot on response to COVID situation. So we thank John and the Fire and Rescue Authority for all their hard work. Moving on to 11B, Transport for West Midlands update. Again, the update report is submitted in the agenda pack. Can I invite Councillor Actor to respond to any questions from members? Are there any questions? No. Again, a long report, but with some interesting features, so thank you for that. 11C, West Midlands Police and Crime Panel update. Again, submitted in tonight's agenda pack, and can invite Councillor Richard Jones to respond to any questions that are from members. Are there any questions? No? None received. Thank you very much. And finally, the West Midlands Combined Authority update, a very long document with some very interesting information. Can I invite Deputy Councillor Crompton to respond to any questions we have from members? Are there any questions? Thank you very much indeed. Moving on to the final item, which is number 12, appointments to committees, boards and outside bodies, which I understand is being withdrawn. Is that right? That's correct?
That's correct. Yes, been confirmed.
Well, in that case, thank you very much for your attendance. This is our last full council meeting before Christmas, but I'm not going to wish you a happy Christmas just yet, because I'm sure we'll see each other in other meetings. I thank members for learning very quickly how to deal with again, a new way of working. I understand people have been attending meetings quite well. thank staff for supporting members in this new way of working. I think everyone is pretty active in the wards as well. So I think even though we're not being seen together, there is still plenty of work going on. Thank you very much for your attendance. And our next meeting of full council will be in January. So, okay, happy Christmas and happy New Year. Bye for now.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Good night. Be safe, everyone. Take care.